A portion of today's show is brought to you by Health Diagnostic Laboratory, Inc.
Welcome back. Well, you know, I love Tuesdays because that's when our friends from the Health Diagnostic Laboratory come to visit. And Boomer is back with us today to talk about women and heart health and a particular genetic defect that they can detect with their test. Welcome back, Boomer. You're going to show us your signature move
you
after
want to
the
see
Chippendales
it?
guys?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I could follow that.
Okay, let's talk serious though about heart disease and women. We've been talking about it frequently on the show, but there is a genetic marker that you guys can find with the special tests that you do.
That's right. Yeah, we do several, but one in particular is called MTHFR, which stands for methylene tetrahydrofolate reductase. So
there's your move right there.
Very important, really, in men and women, but specifically with women when they go on HRT, the hormone replacement therapy, they're going to be at a greater risk of thrombogenesis, that kind of thing. So they're going to want to have this done because this plays a role in the methylation process associated with that.
Okay, so they're on hormone replacement therapy. Does it matter if it's synthetic or natural hormones that they're taking? How does that affect the test?
That's probably a good question for their doctor to ask. I'm not real sure, but I can tell you, we look at it specifically as it relates to elevated levels of homocysteine. So MTHFR, which is an enzyme, is going to break down a naturally occurring amino acid, which is homocysteine, which is very atherogenic.
And what does homocysteine do?
Well, a lot of things. One of the things it will do is it will actually strip the endothelium of essential B vitamins, folic acid, B12, that kind of thing. So as we see that the body can, like we take in folic acid through our diet, let's say, well, we actually have to convert that into the active form, which is L-methylfolate. Okay. Well, if we have a genetic mutation where the MTHFR does not function properly, then we're not going to convert that. Okay, so we're not going to be able to break it down into methylfolate.
So basically, you're not getting enough folic acid.
Exactly. You're going to be able to break down a very, very small percentage of it, if any at all.
And then there's a connection between folic acid and heart disease?
There is. Yeah, especially whenever we can see that folic acid and B12, any kind of B vitamins really is very protective, cardioprotective to the endothelial wall. Homocysteine can come and strip the endothelium of the essential B vitamins, and then so we see that MTHFR plays a role in that. And we also see, too, interestingly enough, that over 50% of the population has this defect.
Okay, so Boomer, why aren't our regular blood testing for things like this?
Well, some of it is just kind of an older school way of thinking. I mean, you know, we have certain, providers or certain specialists that learned a long time ago, and then maybe they haven't adopted some of the newer technology. A lot of people have been resistant to learning about some of this new stuff. A lot of people are very resistant to maybe applying it and learning what to do with it. Okay, I've got this result. Now what do I do with it? What do I tell my patient?
Yeah.
So there's some hesitation there.
It seems like that's a continuous theme in medicine, unfortunately, is that there's the doctors that have been doing it one way for so many years. And as a patient, how do we fix that? How do we rise above that and really get the kind of health care that we need? Well,
that's one of the reasons we do this. We hope that this message gets to the patients, and the patients are taking this to their doctor and saying, I need to be tested for this. Specifically, I mean, the whole panel, but MTHFR, which is what we're talking about today. If you have heart disease in your family, as a woman, if anybody who has had a miscarriage, I mean, we know the role that folic acid plays in fetal development, but it plays a very important role in depression. A lot of depressed patients, I mean, in fact, some literature says 70% of depressed patients will have an MTHFR polymorphism.
Wow.
Autism, ADHD, all that. Yeah.
So they can prescribe folic acid and say take more of it, but there's no way of knowing how much your body's actually taking in unless you get this test.
That's right. So if you have this test done and we see that you actually do have that genetic mutation, rather than going the folic acid route, which is not going to help us, we can go ahead and get on a supplement that already has that conversion done for you, which is the 5L-methylfolate.
Interesting. Yeah. Boomer, it's always a lesson in health when you're here. Thank you so much.
Sure.
You can get more information about the Health Diagnostic Laboratory by going to their website, which is hdlabinc.com. You can also call them at the number right there on your screen, 877-4HD-LABS. And remember to talk to your own doctor to request the HDL test. Boomer and his colleagues will be here every Tuesday to talk about your health. And I'm not kidding you, always we learn something new, and I'm making a mental note of the next test that I need to get done. Thanks, Boomer. Okay, more Table Talk coming up next. Stay with us.